very often we think when we go on the spiritual path, our path becomes easy. Actually, no. This is the moment truly you are starting your spiritual path. Before was just passing. You know? Because you see, what you prioritize upon, you prioritize the world upon your spiritual path. So you do your spiritual path, your sadhana, only when you have time. For example, when you're working, can you constantly thinking about the divine? No, even japam become very difficult because you are so engaged into the work outside. No? The mind rotate upon that. The mind has a focus upon something else. Then you go on the spiritual path. Guruji tell you, oh, you know, you have to chant your mantra every day. You try at the beginning, no? Then what happened? Let's say you are just a devotee outside. Still, your mind will prioritize the outside more than your spiritual path itself. What matter? Family matter, friend matter, your job matter. There are many things that come first. But yet deep inside, yes, I want to achieve that. I want to attain to that. There is a satisfaction that you get into the world. But that satisfaction into the world, you have experienced it countless of time. But yet, still you have not learned from that. The samskaras of the outside still awake inside of you and still pull you back into the world. So Brahmacharini Devi, she remind one of that intense sadhana, that discipline that you put into your life itself. You know, it's not just to wear a different kind of clothes, but that discipline and what is your aim. Nothing should come in between. Brahma, what does that mean? Means that Supreme Lord which is infinite. No? Charya or Charini, which means moving towards. So Brahmacharini symbolize one which is constant moving towards the infinite. Someone which is always absorbed into that clear aim and goal. You know, that's what Brahmacharini means. Brahmacharya means that, you know, which your mind is not diverted, not get entangled by anything. Primary must be that Supreme Lord. But it's not an easy thing to do, you know. Whether you are in the world, whether you are in the ashram, wherever you are, it's not an easy thing. That's why discipline is very important to how much you are disciplined to yourself. First discipline that we put is who we surround ourselves to. You know, our companions, who people we surround ourselves, make a deep impact upon our attitude towards surrendering. If we keep a certain kind of company, sooner or later, it will drag you to the same level which they are, which means a downfall to another level. It is very fancy, very beautiful, but you don't get the result straight away. You get it later on. Because first, you see, as you go on the spiritual path, you burn the karma of the outside. It takes some time. So you have accumulated a certain punya being on the spiritual path, but yet when you let your mind drag you through companion of the outside, what happened? You start to lose interest upon your spiritual path. You know? That's why you have to guard yourself very well. Who you are keeping companion. Second, what we have to guard ourselves is what we are watching, you know, what we are listening, what we are doing. You know, three things, which even Bhagavan Krishna said, you know, in the Gita itself, it said, through constant practice you get better. But you have to be vigilant, you know, you have to be alert. If you are not alert, sooner or later, you fall. You see what, you look at something, let's say you go window shopping. You don't have something to do at home, what to do? Let's go window shopping. What do you want to buy? No, nothing, we just want to look at things. Yes or no? How many of you like to do window shopping when you don't have anything else to do? You go and do window shopping. What happens when you do window shopping? Your mind gets attached to what you see. Once your mind gets attached to what you see, it plays like a recorder into your mind. At night you can't sleep. Your mind is there in the window. It's still doing shopping there. So you lost your peace. You can't even sleep anymore. You become agitated inside because your mind wants to run there. The object where you have focused upon your mind, that become your reality. So what you watch through your eyes is very important. You know, what you listen is very important. What you do is very important. These three things is very important to be watchful upon. You know? So engaging firstly the companion, you which is on the spiritual path, you have to keep the companionship which encourage you to grow into that. That is the penance of nowadays, you know. It's not the penance of ancient. Ma Bhagavati, Brahmacharini Devi, she's sitting, she's holding a mala in her hand, and she holds a kamandalu in her hand. No? So, she's dressed white. That's about the purity of her mind. The purity of the mind which is completely absorbed into the infinite Lord which is for her Lord Shiva. But we go one step further. Our mind is at the lotus feet of Sriman Narayana. And there where the mind have to be attached to. But Ma Bhagavati here is showing by which means we have to do that. It is by chanting. By constant reminding oneself of the divine name. We transform, you know, the mind. We don't let the mind be back into the outside. No. We guard it by chanting. We shield it from the outside by remembering our beloved Lord Himself. You know? Then we engage our mind through knowledge. You know? Knowledge can be both ways, you know. One knowledge which anchor you into the world, another knowledge which liberate you from the world. You know? The one knowledge which anchor you into the world is a knowledge which you are dealing with. The other divine knowledge which free you from the world is what, when you go on the spiritual path, you engage your mind in constant reading about that, you know. So if you don't feed your mind will have to automatically be fed with something else. So continuous absorption of the mind into the whatever scriptures you're reading, or, you know, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, and so on. You know, there's so many. You go in the library, in the shop, you will find a lot. But this is very important, what we feed our mind. And third is, satsang is very important. Of course, you can't practice all, but satsang is very important to listen. Now, it is only by that, but the mind will transform. You know, there's a beautiful verse in Bhagavad Gita, chapter 3, verse 39 of Bhagavad Gita. Lord Krishna said, you know, even knowledge, if it is not guarded, get consumed by endless desire so easily. Here he give a warning and guard itself. You know? So, but you say that even that knowledge, you see, if you don't have that alertness inside of you, that knowledge, if you let your senses drag you to the lowest, you will lose everything. And when you lose, it is you who lose. Nobody else will lose. Don't think that when you lose something, somebody else will be sad for you. No, they can appear to be sad for you, but no, you will be the most saddest. So Bhagavan Krishna said, even if you are not aware, you are not on guard upon your spiritual path, even that knowledge that you do, it's like, for example, you see, you are very knowledgeable people, you know. You are very wise people who have studied very much, for some of you, university and so on. You know. You see, you like to read. You know, you have seen people in the world, how they are. They like reading one book after the other, one novel after the other. Their life has become a novel itself, you know. One novel finished, what is new? You know? Are they absorbing what they are reading? No, they are not, because it is nothing to be absorbed into. You know? It's like a pot with holes, you know. You keep pouring inside, and down it is going away. No? First you have to block that hole, no? Then you can fill it up. So if it's just a recipient which you keep filling yourself with knowledge, and yet it is draining out of you, then what's the use of that? It becomes useless completely. That's why it is very important when you are on the spiritual path, you know, to have that determination, you know, about your aim and your goal. It's not that it keeps flowing through you like a broken recipient. No. So you become absorbed into that. You know? And prioritize always what is important for you. You, as you're on the spiritual path, you know, prioritize always your sadhana. Prioritize always your relationship with God. Prioritize always to move forwards towards that infinite Lord of love. In the world you will encounter love, but it is finite. It is not infinite. But inside of you, you will encounter the infinite love itself.